Hi, Professor Smith here, and I'd like to talk you through the home mortgage project assignment, which is one of your experience-based learning activities that you will perform in this class. As you can see, it is due at the start of class in week 7, and I do not accept late papers, so please keep that in mind. Get started as soon as you can, and if you finish early, you can certainly bring your draft to me and have me look it over and make sure you've done everything correctly before I put a grade on it. So you are going to be comparing 15 and 30-year loan terms. And in this typed essay, you have to include all of your work, including 4 pieces of documentation. So I'd like to start off with your APRs as requested in numbers 1 and 2. My favorite website to go to find currently offered APRs is bankrate.com. So when I go to bankrate.com, I can see that I have options, and I want to choose the mortgage loan option, and it is for the purpose of purchasing a home. I'm asked to find a 15-year APR first, so I'll click on that, and by default it will load the zip code that it has stored and currently offered APRs. As you can see, they appear to be sorted from low to high. So I have 3.851, and I can go to even more than the highest shown, which is 4.025. But I want to look for a pretty number. Typically, because I have excellent credit, I would qualify for the lowest or one of the lowest APRs, and this is showing 3.851. Today, which is October 2nd, 2018. However, I want a pretty number to work with in my project, so I'm going to choose an APR for my 15-year loan of 4% by Allied Mortgage Group. So, since you need to provide documentation, the easiest way to do this would be to do a control print screen of what we have here and go to your Word document and paste it in. Now, of course, you want to note that 4% is the APR that you've chosen, so you could simply draw a circle around it. In your screenshot to denote that that's your chosen APR. And so your paper is going to say something like, my 15-year APR is 4%. My 30-year APR is, let's go find it. So I need to go back in Bankrate to where I can select a mortgage for a purchase with a 30-year fixed APR. And once again, you should see that there are several results that pop up, ranging from 4.451 up until 4.625, and there are even more results. But I'm, again, going to pick a nice pretty number to deal with. I'm going to go 4.5% from Triumph Bank. Again, I need to provide documentation, so I am going to control print screen and go back to my Word document so I can paste this in. Obviously, my print screen is showing a little bit more than what I'm doing because I'm using this screencasting software. However, I have my 30-year APR of 4.5%. It is important, again, to put a circle around that, denoting that the 4.5% APR was the one selected. So I've got number 1 done, I've got number 2 done, and now tell me how the APRs were different, showing your calculations. Sorry about the background noise, but difference in math means subtract. So 4.5 minus 4 is 0.5%. That shows the work to show the difference between the two, but I said tell me how they were different. So I might say something like the 15-year APR is 0.5% lower than the 30-year APR. So I've both shown you my calculation for the difference right here, and I've also told you how they were different. I could rephrase this and say that the 30-year APR is 0.5% higher than the 15-year APR. Okay, back to the project. Next, you have to estimate a reasonable monthly mortgage payment using the 25% rule. In order to do this, you first need to get documentation of what your starting annual salary will be once you graduate from RMU with your intended degree. So perhaps I am a nursing major, so I want to know what is a registered nurse starting salary in Florida. So I can do a search and need an annual. Oh, look at right here. Salaries typically start from $46,100 and go up to $82,910. So I again need to provide my documentation. So I'm going to go back to my Word document and paste this in. Since I am starting as a registered nurse with little experience, I would estimate my salary to be on the lower end. So since we have a range here, I'm going to choose $46,100 as my starting salary. So I need to determine the monthly salary and the 25% rule. So back in my typed essay, I'm going to show $46,100 divided by 12 is equal to $3,841.67, rounded appropriately to the nearest cent. So that is my per month wage before any taxes or deductions. So I showed you my annual starting salary, the work to divide it by 12 to find the gross monthly salary, and then I want to take my gross monthly salary and divide it by 4, which is the same as taking that salary and multiplying it by 2.5 in order to find 25% of my gross monthly salary. And so according to the 25% rule, I can afford about $960.42 per month for my monthly mortgage payment. Alrighty. Next, you'll need to find a home to purchase and be sure to get documentation. This is your fourth and final piece of documentation. Since I needed a home to buy, I did an internet search and I wound up on Zillow and I found this beautiful, huge house with a pole barn and, as you can see here in the picture, a little additional guest house. So I'm going to do a print screen and once again paste into my Word document so that the documentation of my house is provided. So quick recap, 4 pieces of documentation are the 15-year APR, the 30-year APR, which I still need to put a circle around, the salary, annual salary, and the house. So I have my 4 pieces of documentation, and the next question on the project asks me to choose a down payment percent between 5 and 20% and tell me how you chose your down payment as well as the percent, the amount, and the loan principal. So I am going to go to my typed essay and I'm going to move down and say that I choose 20% down payment to avoid P&I. And they all talked about that in class. So I have to show my work. I need to find 20% of the cost of the house, which is $675,000. That works out to a whopping $135,000 down payment. So if I have the cost of my house is $675,000 and I subtract my down payment, I will get my loan principal. Therefore, my loan principal works out to be $540,000. This is the amount that I have to borrow from the bank in order to finance this house with the 20% down payment. So I've already completed up to number 7 in the video, and we're only at 10.5 minutes. So for numbers 8 and 9, you will calculate a monthly payment for each of your chosen 15 and 30-year APRs. Additionally, you will calculate the total amount paid for each loan and the total amount of interest paid for each loan. I will show you how to do all of these things in class once we get to the finance unit. After you've calculated the results of numbers 8 and 9, by the way, it's very, very important that you show all your calculations as directed in order to get full credit. Just parts 8A and 9A calculations are worth 20% of the grade on this project. So after you get 8 and 9 done, you are going to find the differences between each of the monthly payments, total amounts paid, and total amounts of interest paid by taking the higher of the two minus the lower, and make sure that you not only show your calculations but also comment on the differences. Okay, so here is what the calculation for my 15-year payment looks like using the TBM solver in my calculator. So I got a 15-year monthly payment of $3,994.31, and therefore the total amount paid on the 15-year loan would be $853,975.80, whereas $178,975.80 of that is interest. I also showed the calculation for my 30-year payment, and it came out to be $2,736.10, and the total amount paid on that loan is $1,119,996, where $444,996 of that is interest. So to calculate the differences, I took the 15-year monthly payment minus the 30-year monthly payment and found that the 15-year payment is $1,258.21 more than the 30-year payment. That is what the comment looks like, and I should do the same thing for the differences in total amount paid and the differences in total interest paid. As you can see, I've shown the calculations, but I have not yet given the comments, which is what you will need to do. And since I got the same answer for the differences in total amount paid and total interest paid, I know I've performed my calculations correctly. Finally, I need to choose a loan and state the reason why I chose that loan. So I would choose a 15-year loan because I'd save well over $266,000 over the life of the loan. And finally, I have to state whether or not I can afford my chosen loan according to the 25%. I cannot, because it exceeds my salary estimate by over $3,000. So that concludes the presentation of the mortgage project. One more thing I wanted to show you is the grading rubric that I have also posted along with the project in Blackboard. So you can see I basically made an Excel spreadsheet in which I'm going to hopefully check off each thing that you have done: 15-year APR, 30-year APR, documentation, differences, etc. Everything on here is 1 point except for the monthly payment calculations, which are both 5 points, making up a total of 50 points for this assignment. If you have any questions, please contact me. Thanks, and good luck. Get started early and work efficiently. One last thing, I will be expecting a printed copy of your mortgage project turned into me on our class meeting during week 7. The exact date should be posted at the top of your handout.